The Summit Within. Before you read, Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia was a member of the first successful Indian expedition to Mount Everest in 1965. How did he feel when he stood on the highest point in the world? Let us hear his story in his words. Climbing the summit and then the more difficult task of climbing the summit within. Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia was a member of the first successful Indian expedition to Mount Everest in 1965. In this lesson, he tells us how he felt as he stood on the Everest. Of all the emotions which surged through me as I stood on the summit of Everest looking over miles of panorama below us, the dominant one, I think, was humility. The physical in me seemed to say, "Thank God, it's all over." However, instead of being jubilant, there was a tinge of sadness. Was it because I had already done the ultimate in climbing, and there would be nothing higher to climb, and all roads hereafter would lead down? By climbing the summit of Everest, you are overwhelmed by a deep sense of joy and thankfulness. It's a joy which lasts a lifetime. The experience changes you completely. The man who has been to the mountains is never the same again. Ahluwalia, standing on the Mount Everest, was looking over miles of wide area and felt very humble. Physically, he was very tired. Instead of being very happy about his success in reaching the Mount Everest, he felt sad after reaching it. He tries to find the reason, but he was not sure of the reason. He wondered if this sadness was because he had already achieved and fulfilled his wish of climbing the Mount Everest, and there was no other higher peak to climb. Ahluwalia said that after climbing the Mount Everest, he felt a deep sense of joy and thankfulness, which lasted the rest of his life. He also says that the experience of climbing the summit changes a person completely. As I look back at life after climbing Everest, I cannot help remarking about the other summit, the summit of the mind, no less formidable and no easier to climb. Even when getting down from the summit, once the physical exhaustion has gone, I began asking myself the question why I had climbed Everest. Why did the act of reaching the summit have such a hold on my imagination? It was already a thing of the past, something done yesterday. With every passing day, it would become more remote. And then, what would remain? Would my memories fade slowly away? After he had climbed the summit, he explains about his thoughts of another summit, that is the summit of mind. To overcome the difficulties in life, our mind should be confident and also should have the capacity to face the challenge. It is not very easy to motivate our mind. After he had achieved reaching the summit, he started to ask himself why he had climbed the summit and why it has had such a strong hold in his imagination. He feels that the actions are already completed and asks himself if the memories of climbing the summit would fade away soon. All these thoughts led me to question myself as to why people climb mountains. It is not easy to answer the question. The simplest answer would be, as others have said, because it is there. It presents great difficulties. Man takes delight in overcoming obstacles. The obstacles in climbing a mountain are physical. A climb to a summit means endurance, persistence and willpower. The demonstration of these physical qualities is no doubt exhilarating as it was for me also. He also raises a question that why people climb mountains. The simplest answer is that because it is there. It is not an easy job to climb the mountain. Man takes delight in overcoming the hindrance in every moment of his life. Here, the obstacle in climbing a mountain is physical. One should be physically and mentally fit. Finally, Ahluwalia came to a conclusion that in order to climb a summit, a person should have three qualities. First is endurance, that is the tolerance to overcome the pain. Second, persistence, that is the firmness in mind to achieve it. And the third is willpower, that is the determination to reach the summit. It is only with the help of these three qualities that a man can overcome all the obstacles. The climbing of a summit is thus a demonstration of these three qualities. That is why men take delight in overcoming these obstacles. I have a more personal answer to the question. From my childhood, I have been attracted by mountains. I had been miserable, lost when away from the mountains in the plains. Mountains are nature at its best. Their beauty and majesty pose a great challenge, and like many, I believe that mountains are a means of communion with God. In this para, Ahluwalia explains that from his childhood days he was so much attracted by the mountains. So, when he stayed in plains area, he missed the beauty of the mountains. He also felt that mountains are a means of communion with God. Once having granted this, the question remains, why Everest? Because it is the highest, the mightiest, and has defied many previous attempts. It takes the last ounce of one's energy. It is a brutal struggle with rock and ice. Once taken up, it cannot be given up halfway, even when one's life is at stake. The passage back is as difficult as the passage onwards. And then, when the summit is climbed, there is the exhilaration, the joy of having done something, the sense of a battle fought and won. There is a feeling of victory and of happiness. Ahluwalia says that a question arises when he chose to climb Everest. He says that the first reason is that he has always loved mountains. Everest is the highest and the mightiest of them all. It is a great struggle against rock and ice. So, after climbing this summit, there is a joy of having done something which only few can do, just like the sense of battle fought and won. Glimpsing a peak in the distance, I get transported to another world. I experience a change within myself which can only be called mystical. By its beauty, aloofness, might, ruggedness, and the difficulties encountered on the way, the peak draws me to it, as Everest did. It is a challenge that is difficult to resist. Looking back, I find that I have not yet fully explained why I climbed Everest. It is like answering a question, why you breathe? Why do you help your neighbor? Why do you want to do good acts? There is no final answer possible. Looking at the peak from a distance, Ahluwalia is transported to another world. He has a spiritual feeling. In fact, the difficulties of climbing Everest are huge, but this is what attracts him to it. It is a challenge that he finds difficult to resist. Ahluwalia says that the call to face the challenge of overcoming the obstacles was irresistible. And then there is the fact that Everest is not just a physical climb. The man who has been to the mountain top becomes conscious in a special manner of his own smallness in this large universe. The physical conquest of a mountain is only one part of the achievement. There is more to it than that. It is followed by a sense of fulfillment. There is the satisfaction of a deep urge to rise above one's surroundings. It is the eternal love for adventure in man. The experience is not merely physical, it is emotional, it is spiritual. Climbing Everest is not just a physical climb. Once a man reaches the mountain top, he becomes more conscious. Climbing Everest is not just a physical achievement or conquest. More than that, it is followed by a sense of fulfillment. It gives a great satisfaction when one rises above one's surroundings. The experience is not merely physical, but also emotional and spiritual. Consider a typical climb. Towards the summit, on the last heights, you are sharing a rope with another climber. You firm in. He cuts the steps in the hard ice. Then he belays and you inch your way up. The climb is grim. You strain every nerve as you take every step. Famous climbers have left records of the help given by others. They have also recorded how they needed just that help. Else, they might have given up. Breathing is difficult. You curse yourself for having let yourself in for this. You wonder why you ever undertook the ascent. There are moments when you feel like going back. It would be sheer relief to go down instead of up. Climbing mountains also gives us lessons in comradeship. He gives an example. While climbing, two persons have to share a rope. One climber holds the rope firmly while the other climber cuts the steps in the hard ice. Then he belays and the other climber inches his way up. Famous climbers have left records of help given by others. A single man cannot simply think of being a climber. It's not only the physical difficulties which will deter him, the difficulties are emotional too. He says that it is very difficult to breathe and sometimes the mountaineers wish to go back to the starting point. They would feel it a great relief to go down instead of moving up. But almost at once you snap out of that mode, there is something in you that does not let you give up the struggle. And you go on. Your companion keeps up with you. Just another 50 feet or 100 maybe. You ask yourself, is there no end? You look at your companion and he looks at you. You draw inspiration from each other and then, without first being aware of it, you are at the summit. But as soon as the climber snaps out of that mood, there is something in him that will not let him give up his struggle. Yes, that is his confidence and willpower. He and his companion draws inspiration from one another. Finally, yes, they are there at the summit. Looking round from the summit, you tell yourself that it was worthwhile. Other silvery peaks appear through the clouds. If you are lucky, the sun may be on them. The surrounding peaks look like a jeweled necklace round the neck of your summit. Below you see vast valleys sloping into the distance. It is an ennobling, enriching experience to just look down from the summit of a mountain. You bow down and make your obeisance to whichever god you worship. I left on Everest a picture of Guru Nanak. Rawat left a picture of goddess Durga. Fu Dorji left a relic of Buddha. Edmund Hillary had buried a cross under Karen, a heap of rocks and stones in the snow. These are not symbols of conquest but of reverence. Looking down from Everest, the climber feels that the effort was worthwhile. Other silvery peaks appear through the clouds. The peaks around look like a jeweled necklace around the neck of the summit. The climber bows down to God. Ahluwalia left on Everest a picture of Guru Nanak. Rawat left a picture of goddess Durga. Fu Dorji left a relic of the Buddha. Edmund Hillary had buried a cross under a cairn in the snow. These are not the symbols of conquest but of reverence. The experience of having climbed to the summit changes you completely. There is another summit. It is within yourself. It is in your own mind. Each man carries within himself his own mountain peak. He must climb it to reach to a fuller knowledge of himself. It is fearful and unscalable. It cannot be climbed by anyone else. You yourself have to do it. The physical act of climbing to the summit of a mountain outside is akin to the act of climbing the mountain within. The effects of both the climbs are the same. Whether the mountain you climb is physical or emotional and spiritual, the climb will certainly change you. It teaches you much about the world and about yourself. I venture to think that my experience as an Everester has provided me with the inspiration to face life ordeals resolutely. Climbing the mountain was a worthwhile experience. The conquest of the internal summit is equally worthwhile. The internal summits are perhaps higher than Everest. So, the experience of being on the Everest changes a man completely. Each man has within him his own mountain peak. It is fearful and unscalable, yet no one else but that man has to do it himself. Climbing this inside peak is like climbing Everest too. The effects are same. Both the climbs change you. It teaches you much about the world and yourself. Ahluwalia finally concludes that his experience as an Everester has provided him with the inspiration to face life's painful experience with determination. The internal summit is perhaps higher than Everest.